Fernanda Bulhões, directly from Brazil, with our Inspire People interview. And today I have a very, very good friend of mine who loves to eat pizza with me in the New York train station. This is Marylin Laurent. Thank you so much for being here, my friend. I truly miss you. How's everything?
Thank you for having me. Everything is pretty good. You know, we're doing well. We have
That's
beautiful
good.
weather today in New York.
Oh, which is not really common for the season. I mean, you guys just start spraying. How
Yes.
beautiful, how? Is it still like 50 degrees, 40 degrees or something?
Um, this morning I went out and I think it was like 55. I think it's probably slightly warmer. Like it's not warm, but it's beautiful. It's sunny. There's like a few clouds because I keep on looking over here at the window. There are a few clouds, but we've been having a lot of rain lately, but today it's dry. So I'm happy about that.
Which is good, right? Because it tends to get humid very soon as the summer comes, right?
The summer, yes.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so as I always say when I start interviewing people, I like to state that everybody has a story, and then each story could be inspiring, and inspire other people. So that's why I invited you because I've known you for quite some time, and I know you have a beautiful story, and that's why I want you to share with everybody. So, would you please start, like, telling about yourself? Where were you born? And where were you raised? Which I think it's a very nice, different story.
Right. I was born in New York. I was born here at that time my parents lived in New York, both my mother and my father. But my mom said that she will not raise kids in the US because um you were hearing all these horror stories in the news about babysitters and all of that. So she was like, I don't have any family here. I'm not raising my kids here. So my grandmother at the time was in Haiti and my uncle and my I'm a twin actually. So my brother and my mom brought us back home and left us with my grandmother and my uncle. So they were the ones who raised me up until I was about 7 or 8. But we traveled back and forth, during the summer. Either my we came here in New York, or my mom and my dad would come and spend some time with us. And then by the time I turned, I think it was 7, my mom decided, it was time to actually live with her kids. So she moved back to Haiti, and she stayed there up until when I finished school, and I decided, I wanted to study in the States because I felt like even though we have great universities back home, I didn't feel that any of the, how would I say, the fields that they offered, would benefit me. Although at that point, I didn't even know what I wanted to study. But I figured, listen, I'm American. I have a better opportunity in the States. Why not? And the situation back home was not the greatest either. So I moved here, and I decided, I said, I never lived with my father, but hey, he's my father, right? So I decided to move in with him. So I was with my father for about a year. And as the situation in Haiti continued deteriorating, my mom was like, I can't stay in Haiti anymore. So my mom came a year later with my brother, and we moved together. So I've been here for quite some time now.
So, do they speak?
And
They speak English in Haiti and Creole, right?
well, the official languages are Creole and French.
Oh, French.
We
That's right.
don't, right. English is not really uh, an official language, but as the years went by, especially with we've had several episodes of U.S. embargoes where we also had the UN come to ensure peace in the country and all of that. So all that interaction with the states has brought a surge, I would say, in the English speaking. So a large percentage of the population now speaks English, although it's not really an official language. But like I haven't been in Haiti in a very long time, but the last time I went there, like you're coming out of the airport and people are trying to help you with your luggage and they're speaking to you in English. And I'm like, wait a minute, I didn't know people here spoke English. So it's becoming more current. Yeah.
Interesting. So when you look back and you think about being raised, of course, in the country that is your background, but how do you remember being your growing up, as a kid in Haiti? And by the way, Ismet from Canada is saying hi to us, and
Hi, Smith.
so thank you for being here, Manita. And so tell me, how was being raised and how was growing up? How was being a kid in Haiti?
Um, in the beginning, I would say like in my younger ages, because when you're a child, you don't know what's going on, right? So it was great. It was really great. I felt like we were more in touch with nature, even though I lived in the capital. We used to have like different fruit trees in the backyard. And I was also a Girl Scout, so we used to go camping like at the beach, in the mountains. So it was a lot of nature, I would say. And it's a Caribbean island. Like you can't go wrong with that. So I would say up until my teens, it was like heaven for me. But then when the political situation became difficult and I became more aware of what was going on in the country, because things were going on, but like I said, as a child and the way we were raised, you children were not allowed to sit where adults are speaking. So I didn't know what was going on until I was like in my teens and schools were being closed. And so that's when I was made aware of, a lot of things that were going on in the country. So these things kind of shifted my experience because it was no longer heaven. Like schools would be closed and you hear gunshots. Like there were times where my brother and I, we had to put our mattresses in my mom's bedroom on the floor
Wow.
because we were so afraid of sleeping in our bedrooms because it was gunshots all night and you're just so scared. And our bedrooms was facing the street. So my mom's was in the back facing the backyard. So it felt a little safer to be in the back because the front you're like more exposed. So we used to sleep on the floor because we were scared. So and then there was a lot of trauma that came with it because there would be mornings you're going to school and you see bodies on the streets and it became so natural, so normal that you would just see people walking like it's nothing. And it was hard to be indifferent to it because we're humans after all. But and I just it was getting to me. And usually when those things were happening, when there was turmoil, I would get sick. That was how, I guess, physically I reacted to the emotional things that were going on. So I used to be like really sick, either like fever or stomach issues, but I used to be really like physically sick.
It's like the emotion. Everybody says we have two brains, the one up here and the one in the middle, like the stomach, the intestines, and everything. The GI tract is usually how you react to emotions. So, most probably, that's why you were
Mhm.
going through it. You just didn't know how to react. So, your body just says, okay, let me shut down and protect her somehow. So
Right.
Crystal from the U.S. from Connecticut is saying hi. She's my dear sister as well. And Cecilia, she's Brazilian, but she's from Texas. She says Marilyn's such an amazing help with all matters about Zumba convention. We know that you're always ready to help us. So when you were growing up, and despite of all this craziness and what were your dreams? Because every kid, that you ask for nowadays and in the past, what would you like to be when you grow up? And I want to be a doctor. I want to be a teacher. What Marilyn would always wanted to be?
I wanted to be an actress. Yes.
Interesting.
I wanted to be an actress. Actually, my mom had put me in a, I don't want to say school, but it was like kind of an after school weekend program where we had arts, and it wasn't just how do they call it again? Now I'm drawing a blank. It wasn't like just drawing and crafts and things like that, but it was also performing arts. So we had like folk dance, like Haitian folk dance, and we had acting also. So I was like in my element, and I was like, I want to be popular. I want to be famous. I want to be an actress. But, the mentality in a lot of the third world countries, I would say, is like, no, you got to be a doctor, you got to be an engineer, you got to be a lawyer. So it was like, this is not going to happen. So it quickly faded, I would say, but there's still a little part of me that wonders what it would have been like.
Oh, very interesting. And then as you were approaching adult life, I mean, you saw that, acting probably was not the right thing or probably not the best thing. So, what as a teenager, and especially on the transitions between Haiti and back to the US, what were your dreams, what you wanted to be as as you were growing up and probably, thinking about college and everything?
I did not know what I wanted. But when I was, applying for college, I said, well, everybody used to always say, you draw so beautifully, maybe you should do something that has to do with the arts. But then again, that mentality, the arts doesn't feed you, right? So I was looking for something where I could incorporate my drawing, but to have like a decent career. So I went for architecture. And
Interesting. I did not know that.
yes, I was an architecture major for about 2.5 years. And then, the arts are very subjective, and I'm a very sensitive person. Well, especially at that time, I did not take criticism well. So when the art studio professors criticized or critiqued my work, I felt like, okay, I can't do this. I did
Oh,
not have tough skin, and it was like, no, this is not for me. It's like, I'm terrible at this. It's awful. And then there was the gender issue because it was a man's world, and I'm like, yeah, I'm not gonna fight for this. I'm over it. I just want to get out of college, but I don't want to waste the time that I've been here. So I had most of my liberal arts already. So I looked in the school's catalog to see what major I could transfer into and graduate the quickest as possible, because I was already like 2.5 years in, so it was like almost time to be over. So I went for economics.
oh my God,
And
what a flip.
yes, and it is not my field. I just wanted to finish. It is not my thing. Although I had like very high grades, I even had a diploma in finance. Like, I have, and now ask me about investment, I have no clue. I don't know anything about what's going on in Wall Street. People are telling me, you have to invest. And I'm like, yes, I know I have to invest. I do have a little investment, but like to be able to manage it myself, I'm totally clueless because it's just not my thing. So I graduated. And I'm like, I'm done. I'm not going to school. And eventually at some point I decided I wanted to try, um I forgot the name of the actual major, but it had to do with not physical education, but like fitness science, something like that. It had to do
Oh,
with fitness. And then my kids started to be, a little older, and I'm like, okay, they're going to be going to college. I cannot afford college for three people. Forget it. I'm not going to school. So I did not go back to school up till this day. Um, but yeah, and then the funny thing is, I've been working full time for about almost 20 years. No, it's been 20 years actually.
I think you just
No, it's
celebrated
going to
20
be
years. You
20
were just
years.
talking about recently.
Yeah, it's going to be 20 years in August that I've been working at the United Nations, which has nothing to do with the arts, nothing to do with fitness, nothing to do with economics,
No architecture whatsoever.
none whatsoever. And I've been at it for 20 years. But what had helped me, work at the UN, get a job there, was because I speak French. And
Oh,
because I also have a background in secretarial studies. I had a bilingual secretarial diploma back home. So that has helped me to get my initial position, and then I just grew at the UN.
that's good to know because I my high school I did secretariat too. I went for 4 years, but mine was it was German. It asked me if I do speak German now. No, of course not.
It's gone.
It's gone. Yeah, but I do speak English.
Right.
I like that. So Crystal is saying it's never too late. You can always take acting classes and experience something so wonderful. Sometimes reaching those goals may become a reality. As they say here in the States, never say never. And then
Yes.
Cecilia says, I think there is a little bit of acting teaching Zumba, which we know that, right? We have to embody someone super confident and happy, even we may not be at the moment, which is true.
I totally agree. And I'm not dismissing learning, because I'm actually big on learning, even if it's not like, a college structure, but I'm always open to learning. It's just, I'm trying to get over the bump of the COVID situation, and my kids, like my daughter just started college in the fall, and my son just finished college in June. So I'm trying to get past that, all these fluctuations, so that I can like sit down and decide, okay, I'm going to take a class in this, or, maybe, I don't know, with Broadway or whatever. I mean, not to be acting on Broadway, but maybe taking a class, so I definitely am not dismissing my first love, but it's I have to wait a little bit. Let's put it
Yeah,
that
but
way.
just don't, think about it. I've been studying all this COVID, year. I've been doing like courses, some free courses, because it says, you never know. And being at home, I mean, even though I do home office, I've been doing courses, just whatever, something that it
Hmm.
sounds nice, I'm doing it. So, maybe you should, even though you do work full time, regardless, right?
Yeah, I work, well, I'm still working at home, but I'm also teaching Zumba. I think during the whole pandemic, I stopped teaching for maybe a month in total. I taught virtual for a little bit, and then in by the end of June, I moved to the parks, and then midsummer I started outdoors at one of the gyms where I teach, and I taught, and I'm still teaching outdoors like throughout the winter. So I never stopped teaching really. And now we're going back indoors. So I'm kind of slowly getting back into it. And now we're going back into the parks again.
Nice.
So, I'm still kind of a little busy. And during the beginning of the pandemic, I was dealing with a lot of issues, mainly mental health. I mean, not just personal, but like within my family. So my focus kind of shifted a little, and I felt like, during that time it was not about me. So like I said, I'm not dismissing, but I'm getting there. I'm warming up to it.
Very nice. So we have Hackney and Erica from Mexico saying hi, beautiful people, and Crystal saying that some obstacles in life. We know that, when time is right for you, you know in your heart when you can open to the new opportunities. And
Yes.
talking about opportunities, something that I think that's how we got to know each other was throughout the volunteer program. And I know this is something very strong in you. So tell me more about how you got involved with volunteering and things that you've been doing and why this is so important to you
You're talking about volunteering in the Zumba community or
in general,
volunteering
because I
in
don't
general?
know which one came first, volunteering in life first and then in Zumba, or Zumba and then
Well, I like to tell people that I'm a humanitarian at heart. And if being a humanitarian would pay my bills, that's what I would have done full time and maybe 24/7. I grew up a Girl Scout. So our motto was to serve. So I've always had that in me to be of service to the community. Um, and when I moved here, when I was done with college and my kids were at age where they could do scouting, they were also Girl Scout and Boy Scout. And I volunteered a lot in the community with my children. And so with Zumba, my first convention, I went to convention, and then in the in your badge, they put like certain things that you were not necessarily signed up for, and then they had the ZCOM whatever get together, and I was like, wow, I'm curious, I want to know what this is, and blah blah blah. So I went, and I was so amazed. I was so amazed, and I started asking questions and whatnot. And I was like, okay, this is something I want to do. And I applied when, they had a call. And that's when I started volunteering. And I think it was the fall of 2014. That was when I began my first term. And I did it, I think, about 5 terms, I want to say. And it gave me the opportunity to be of service to the Zumba community, the Zen community. Um, and also, at my first ZenCon, I encountered sewing words, and I also signed up for sewing words, and I volunteered in hospitals up until the pandemic. As of now, it's still a no, because it's where I volunteered is a children's hospital, and they're very vulnerable. So even during flu season, sometimes we just have to cancel because we don't want to get the children sick, even if we're not sick. But they try not to have guests or volunteers come in the hospital. So now with the pandemic, forget it. So it breaks my heart a little bit because I miss the kids, but this it's been an amazing journey to really be able to make a difference in people's lives. I've also volunteered with doing senior citizen visits. Just go sit down for an hour talking to them, because like they're not in nursing homes, they're in their houses because they're fully functional on their own,
like
but they don't have.
the assistant living houses, right?
No, well, one of the seniors that I visited, he was in his own house.
Oh, okay. Uh-huh.
And like he was able to like cook his meals and whatnot, but it's just that he was alone. He didn't really have a lot of visitors. He didn't really have people to speak to, although he has children who live in New York, but they're not close. So I had a commitment to go visit him every week. So little things like that. And it brought me joy, to be able to bring a little joy, to that person, so they don't feel lonely. And they could tell me, like he would tell me all stories about his upbringing and his children and his late wife, like all sorts of it. It was really um nurturing, I would say. And it felt good. It really did feel good. So yeah, I feel like volunteering and being of service in the community is a big deal for me. And people are always asking me, why you keep on donating blood? Why are you always donating blood? And I'm like, listen, I don't have money. I can't give money to help. But if my blood can help someone, I will give it as often as they want to take it. So every 2 months, because now you have 56 days, I think, in order for you to replenish all, whatever for your blood supply. I every 56 days I go and I'm like, take it.
Nice.
So anything to help, I'm for it.
Good. And I know there is a program that your heart, cries a little stronger about, which is Spread Love by our friend Joshua. Can you tell people a little bit of, what he does and how you got involved with it somehow?
Well, Josh is a very dear friend of mine. I don't even remember how I met him, but it's through Zumba, definitely. I think it was like a post that he had made one time and he was selling something and I wanted to buy, shirts or whatever it was. And then he was like, "Oh, where do you live?" And I was like, "I'm in Flushing." And he was like, "I'm in Flushing." And I'm like, "We're neighbors." So he was like, "Okay, I don't have to ship it. I can bring it to you or you can pick it up." So then we started, he started telling me a little bit more about his mission. And he actually volunteered in the same hospital that I volunteered, but we didn't volunteer together. He was just, he would bring Polo as a therapy dog to the children. So it was just so interesting that we were in the same kind of environment. And I kind of clicked with him because of, he's very humanitarian. Also, his heart is in the right place when it comes to helping out in the community. So I try as much as I can to encourage his mission because he doesn't just, especially now, like he can't really go into the hospitals anymore, but he tries as much as he can to help, the community in New York. And I saw for the past, I don't even know how many years, like 3 4 years maybe, he's been donating hoodies. He had this thing where it was like you buy a hoodie and I donate a hoodie to the homeless. And he's had I think Gina and Dario, Mansoor, like, some Zumba quote unquote celebrities go out in the streets and help, people in need, especially when it's cold. And so I reached out to him a few weeks ago and I was like, listen, I want to help. I want to help. I don't, like I said, I don't have money, but whatever I can do, whatever you need, like an extra hand for anything, just let me know. And like I said, he lives like right there, just a few blocks from me. And he was like, well, right now I'm trying to go into the city and, trying to feed people because the level of poverty and hunger has gotten worse with the pandemic. Now, I haven't been in the city in a whole year. The last time I was in Manhattan was, well, prior to my visit with Joshua, it was March 12th of 2020. And I was like, I'm not ready to go into Manhattan. I'm not going into Manhattan. But when I reached out to him and I was like, for this, I will go blindly. And so he picked me up and we went in the city and I did not recognize Manhattan. It was not the lively, happy place that I knew. We went into Penn Station and it really broke my heart to see how much misery there is in the streets of New York City now. So again, with the help of clients, customers who are supporting his mission by buying the hoodies and, the clothes that he's putting out there, with that, he's been purchasing meals. And so I went with him and helped distribute meals to the hungry. And it's really humbling when you see how hard these people have it. And it makes you think about, my life is not so bad after all. But like, I spoke to him, I think it was yesterday, and I was like, my daughter's in, because my daughter's in college, but she's home now. And like, I want to go, but I'm not going to be able to go with you this weekend, but please next weekend, let me know and I'm coming. So, yeah, it has, Spread Love has a special place in my heart because coming from a third world country where I saw hunger firsthand as well, It's not the fact that, it's third world or first world. Hunger will remain hunger regardless of where you are in the world. So if I can do my part, as little as it can be, if it makes a difference, I'm here for it.
Yeah, I saw like last week or 2 weeks ago, he was doing the live, and you guys were together, and giving I don't know if it was McDonald's, or there was something that you're buying on the street and giving to them. I I I was like, I could feel the emotion from here, and it must be hard when you hand on a meal, and then knowing that that person probably haven't eaten in days, and I could never possibly imagine how high. I mean, in Brazil this is like very common, especially in the
Hmm.
big cities too. But I as I say, we're all lucky that we don't we have enough, and we're very blessed by it. So I don't know if I would have being prepared emotionally to be there on the street. So it must have been hard, right?
It was hard because I haven't been exposed in a very long time to seeing hunger, because like I said, I've seen it back home, and I did some volunteering in that sense, like feeding hungry children also. But it's been years because I've been in the US for over 2 decades. So I haven't been exposed firsthand in a long time. And just, you're thinking you're in New York, it's the Big Apple and all of that. So you don't really think about it. Although you do see homeless, but you don't think about it. Like it hit me that day. And like you said, it was like you're giving that meal to that person. You don't know, when you think about it, it was like, when was the last time they ate? And you're giving them this meal, and you're like, when is going to be the next time they will eat? So it really, it's heartbreaking, but at the same time it makes you feel good that at least you can do that little bit, even if it's like a drop in the ocean, but it's something,
It's
and it
something.
means something to them.
Very nice. Jose, our dear Jose, is saying, listening from DMV area and sending hugs. Oh, thank you, Jose. We
Hi,
love you.
Jose.
Yes. Okay, so let me see here. How do you usually make the most of a situation?
Hmm. There's like so many different situations. Sometimes it's hard to look at the bright side of things. Especially now, it's very difficult to look at the bright side of things. I was at a point where I was like, I don't think there's a light at the end of this tunnel. I think this is it, but what has helped me is music. There's so many inspirational songs that I've been listening to, and I use them a lot in my stretch songs in class. That kind of, it uplifts you and it gives you hope, even though sometimes, there would be times you'll be like, "Ugh, again." But, and I try to, when I feel kind of like we're not getting anywhere, I just push play. I listen to the songs, and there's one particular song that I like to listen to a lot, and it's Better Days Ahead, I think it's called. It's by Antoine. I forgot his last.
Is it in
Ent,
French? Is
not
a French
Antoine.
song,
Ent.
or in English?
No, it's I have my phone here. I'll tell you, and it's with Justin Timberlake. It's two of them who sing it. Actually, I heard it the first time at the inauguration party when it was like virtual, when why am I losing my trail of thought?
It's
When Biden
Sunday.
became
It's
president.
Sunday. We know you always get like
When Biden became president and they sang that song, and I was like, wow, this is going to go on my playlist. And I will tell you right now the name of it. Let me go to my playlist. And it's called Better Days. It's Ant Clemens and Justin Timberlake. And it
Oh,
says there's a light at the end of the tunnel. And it also says, you know, better days are coming. So that kind of gives me that sense of hope, and it kind of keeps me going, you know. So in any situation that may occur, I turn to songs that would uplift me, and it automatically shifts my spirit and my the way I feel. So music really is everything to me.
it looks like a lot of people agree with you. Crystal says music such a beautiful therapy. Love that song from Justin. It's a great song. Ismet says music indeed is an amazing therapy, such as dancing. Wow. I have to agree with you. Anytime I'm doing something, I'm cooking, I'm cleaning, music's always on.
Yeah.
What are the things that you love doing and no matter when or where it makes you happy and is rewarding?
Teaching Zumba. Teaching Zumba is everything to me. Because you know, it's to me like I always say each instructor has their own agenda. My agenda, it took me a while to kind of get the right idea that I wanted, but for me, it's not to be a great dancer. It's not to make sure that everybody learns the choreography. And I'm not knocking down, you know, instructors that have that agenda, because each of us is different and special in our own ways. But for me, it's about touching people emotionally, and it gives me such comfort, and it's rewarding, and it gives me just that good feeling inside of me when I teach a class and someone comes up to me and says, you know, I wasn't going to come to class today, but there was one song that you played and it meant so much to me. Or like just little things. I had one lady one time who came to me and she started crying and she was hugging me and she was like, you don't know what you did for me today. And I was like, okay, but I'm glad that I was able to bring that moment to her, because you don't know what goes on in people's lives. And I don't want, and I always tell when I before I teach my class, don't worry about not getting the steps, because I don't want my participants to feel bad for not getting a step when my goal is to uplift. I just want you to be happy. Excuse me one second. I'm doing an interview.
I'm
Sorry.
sorry. I was gonna ask you if you like this. Okay, thank you, thank you.
Sorry, that was my daughter.
It's okay.
Yes. So to me, it that means much more than just getting the steps. I mean, it comes with it. It's a package. You know, you get the steps, you get to dance, you get to enjoy the music, you get your workout on, you get the sweat. It's all a package. But what's more meaningful to me and what's more rewarding to me is to be able to reach out to these people in ways that maybe they needed to be touched at that particular time.
Nice. And being that one of the things that you like the most and it's rewarding, have you ever had a situation, for example, in class that you got emotional by seeing something or by listening to a song and then for some reason you're doing like a step or something, then you listen, you says, wow, and you start either crying or you start like, having goosebumps or something?
All the time. Um, there are certain songs, sometimes it's not even the lyrics, it's just something in the music itself would give me either goosebumps or would bring me to tears for whatever reason. And I don't know, it's a feeling that's hard to explain, but it feels good also that I can transmit that to the class, and I tell them, like, if you want to jump for joy, or if you want to cry, if whatever it is that you're feeling, let it out. And don't feel weird about it, because we're all human beings and we have our own emotions. And if you see me cry during class, I'm not sad. It's just, the particular song brings up all these emotions, and it's okay to express it. So it has happened to me a few times in class where, I would just have tears. Yeah.
Yeah, it happens to me all the time. So tell me, how do you see yourself in 5 years from now and in 20 years from now?
That's a very difficult question, because you have those dreams, and then you have things like COVID that come in your life. It kind of shifts all your dreams, not dreams, but like how you plan your life. So it's hard for me to really say how I see my life in 5 years. But what I would like to say is I would like to have more peace. Maybe something in acting. Who knows?
Oh, so it is within you somehow.
Yes.
I like that.
But yeah, because I'm thinking in 5 years, like, my kids should be already independent. Then I would like to travel. I would like to see the world. I have traveled a little bit, but I've been more limited. I've been quite limited in when it comes to traveling, because of, for different things. But I would like to have the opportunity to see the world, not as a tourist. And I always say, it's nice to go to a nice resort, but that's just me. And again, I'm not knocking down anybody. My thing is, I don't want to go to another country and experience the United States in another country. So I'm not big on resorts, unless, like, if I just want to go to Florida to Club Med, then I'll do that. But if I'm going to another country, I want to experience the culture. I want to experience the life there. So I want to see the world through, I don't want to say humanitarian, because I might not necessarily want to be that humanitarian at that time, but I want to experience the culture of different parts of the world,
And do
like
you feel
hands-on.
do you feel like you're creating this future, either in your mind or in your life? I know with COVID, it's so hard for us to say I have a plan. I mean, because most of the plans that we all had in the past a year and a half has been postponed. But do you feel like you're creating probably the future life you want for you and for your kids?
In my mind, yes. But it's difficult. It's difficult to plan certain things, especially when it involves money. Because I've been a single parent for about 15 years, maybe. So it's been everything on me. So it's really hard to plan that far ahead. But as the kids are getting older, and, eventually they will be working, I think it will become a little bit more easy to concretize, those dreams, to make them really happen, especially traveling and all of that. But yes, I have it in my head, and I'm not putting it on a back burner. But there are things that take precedence, but it's my plan. It's my wish to see places that I've never been to and learn. Because learning, it's not just going to school. You learn from people, you learn from experiences. So I want to learn. I want to be the world student.
You're more than
So,
welcome to come to Brazil.
oh yes, I've been wanting to come to Brazil, and again, not knocking down Rio Carnival or all of that, but I want to experience the culture, the food, the life there. You know, if I don't make it to Carnival, it's fine because I see it on TV already. I want to see what I don't see. You know what I mean?
I don't go to
I want to
Carnival. It's
see
like too many people. It's just like so crazy. It. I mean, it's beautiful when you see on TV and stuff. But when you think about it, it's just a lot of people together. Like you know, like New York on New Year's Eve, that
Times
everybody's
Square.
like
Yeah.
squishing each other. It's just so crazy. So I probably wouldn't advise anybody unless you are, dancing on the top of the cars and the carnival. Then I would say yes, that probably is an experience. But it's insane, I tell you.
I want to see what the media doesn't, what I don't see through the eyes of the media, basically. Yeah.
Interesting. So now I'm going to say a couple of words for you, and you're going to just tell me how important, you're going to give me an answer with one word only. Playlist.
Diverse.
Queuing.
Essential.
Zumba wear.
Expensive.
Latin music.
Life.
Singing.
Happy.
Dancing.
Bliss.
Fitness.
Necessary.
Family.
Everything.
Social media.
Tricky.
I got you. I got you now.
Tricky.
Oh my God, it is. I agree with you. So, I just want to thank you so much for being here with us. And I want you to share any advice to people based in your experiences and or how you see life. What would you like to tell everyone?
What I've been experiencing lately, and I've been sharing with friends, my kids, family, like anybody that I speak to, is because it's something that I've learned, I would say recently, especially during the pandemic. Um, put yourself first. It's not selfish. You come first. There is a reason when you get on a plane, they tell you to put your oxygen mask first before you put it for your own child. Put yourself first, please.
Oh my God, I
You
just posted
are important.
about this.
You are the most important person in your life. So you have to care for yourself more than anybody or anything.
Very nice.
It's not selfish.
It's not selfish. Crystal, say thank you for your time and telling your amazing story. May you continue to have many blessings your way. Wow. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank
And
you.
do you have a quote or a saying that you go by?
Be kind. Be kind. It speaks volumes.
It does. It does.
Yes.
I cannot thank you enough, my friend. I am so looking forward to seeing you very, very soon. And I wish you nothing but the best. And I hope, everything gets better because when I met you, I will never forget you were the hug lady. You are the one who loves to give hug. So it must be, so hard for you lately not being
Killing
able to
me.
hug me. It's killing you, right?
It's killing me.
I remember
It's
meeting
killing
you
me.
at Dunkin' Donuts. I says, I didn't even remember your name. I says, you're the hug lady, aren't you? Not even the Z Conan. You were the hug lady, right? And I remember you giving me such a warm hug. I will never forget, going inside of Dunkin' Donuts. It was like so good. And then that's when we became friends. And I appreciate you. I am so grateful for your friendship. So thank you so much for your time. Crystal is saying I agree 100% on you as first. I have reflected this year and I have put myself first. I feel good. I can pass good, positive love to my children, to my husband, to those I love. Thank you for your kindness. You see, when I tell everybody has a story, everybody has something that will inspire other people. So thank you so much, my friend. Next week, guys, we have a beautiful person that I'm so excited about interview, which is my super and one of my best friends, Marcy Benavides. She's gonna be with us, and oh my God, you guys, be prepared to cry because she has an amazing story, such as everybody else. So, my friend, I love you. I miss you. Thank you so much. And I hope to see you very soon. I appreciate you. And guys, this interview is going to be here recorded in my Facebook. I'll be sharing with Marilyn too. And very soon I'll be uploading into my page on YouTube so you guys can have it forever. So thank you so much, sweetheart. Sending you love from Brazil. I
Thank
love you.
you.
Thank you.
Hugs.
Oh yeah, yeah, lots of hugs. Yes, yes, yes. Thank you so much, my
All right.
love.
Thanks.
All
All
right,
right.
thank you guys for
Bye.
watching. I appreciate it.